Let me ask you this. Are you an overwaterer? Like, do you over love your plants with water? If that's the case, and let's face it, we all do it, then let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit and let's talk about something a little weird for growing plants. And that thing is pon, specifically Lechuza Pon. So let's get into it. Hey guys, what's up? It's Erin. I have very recently been getting into something that is kind of weird and wonderful. And let's be honest, it is the working person substrate. Substrate meaning material that you can grow a plant in. And the gold standard is called Lechuza Pon, but pon is used as a interchangeable term with any kind of rock, gravelly substrate that comprises of lava rocks, zeolite, and pumice. These three components, plus or minus a built-in fertilizer. Lechuza Pon one has one built-in, basically Osmocote, that's good for about 6 months or so before you have to add your own. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so today we're going to repot some imports I just received from Equigenera into this medium, this giant heavy bag of Lechuza Pon. So you can get this online from Lechuza Pon. That's where I got mine. It's always sold out. It's like gravelly gold for plant growers because once you get into using pon, you never go back. That's not true. It's a great tool to have in your plant growing arsenal for a few reasons. So number one, it's a different kind of growing system. Lechuza Pon is a good medium to use when you've exhausted all your other options. Your plants aren't liking whatever soil they're in, whatever medium you have them in, whatever watering schedule. This is something to try, and you're tired of your plants looking like this. So this queen was perfect looking for quite a long time, and then she just started getting, I could tell there's mushy roots under there. There's bacteria percolating. It's making my plant look like all of my hard work growing this nice, big, beautiful leaf, and that's it. The key is the pot you have it in and the reservoir. You can get super fancy or not at all. So I purchased a set of 2 off Amazon. This is what your pon and your plant goes in, and then this is the reservoir that it sits in. And you can see this is the reservoir. And when you notice it goes dry, it is time to fill it up. So you can eyeball it. The thing that happens with some pon when you have the reservoir is the roots will kind of escape out the bottom and try to find the water. This wick in the bottom, which you don't have to have, is a means to stop the roots from escaping. That's option 1. And it's really that simple. So lava rock, zeolite, fertilizer, which is like the little orange balls in there, pumice. This specific ratio acts as an air-water ratio for the plants where their roots can creep in here and you don't really have to worry as much about them getting root rot or waterlogged or any of the other annoying problems we get as plant parents. And aroids especially and anthuriums love this. So because this already has the nutrients in it, you should be good for about 6 months without having to add your own. And then there are some soil mixtures called Soil Ninja, which is very similar. It just has some leca in it and some slightly bigger pieces. That one you'll have to add a fertilizer yourself. There are different similar mixtures available on Amazon, but one I found had a different gravel component and no pumice. So I guess you could, in fact, in theory, purchase the pumice and just add it in, or you could wait like everyone else for Lechuza Pon to come back. It is precious. You can add yourself to a waiting list to be reminded when it is in fact in stock. This is a really good example. The Lechuza reservoirs, which you don't have, by the way, pyrade, you do not have to have a Lechuza planter. If you want it, great, but they're a little bit expensive. I've been able to find what I think are cuter reservoirs, self-watering pots off Amazon, and it's ceramic. This one, you put some water in the bottom, you put your pon and your plant in here, and then you plop it in. This lets you know when you're at your minimum water level and then you're at the max water level. So it's truly a matter of walking by and eyeballing it and seeing if, are we good? So that's one option. This is like telling you when to water it again. If you don't feel like buying a pot with a self-watering reservoir or a self-watering pot, that's cool too. So let's say that this is your plant. The water should reach probably about the bottom third of your pot, more or less. And you're going to fill up your pot here with the water and you're going to stick it in. And then this one, you're going to have to check on it and like lift it out. If there's water dripping in it, it's probably fine. If it's bone dry, you have to add some water. But you don't need to have a self-watering pot by any means. Any reservoir situation will do. One of the cool things about this is that this is an inorganic substrate. So that means you're not going to have as many mushrooms growing in your mix. You're not going to have as many gnats. You're not going to have as many pests because it is a less hospitable home for all of these eggs and disgusting things that our plants love to grow. It's not going to harbor moisture in the same way. The plant, via capillary action, is going to kind of take what it needs, which is great because, like I said, I am so guilty of overwatering. So today, what I have done is I had a recent unboxing of some Ecuagenera imports. I took them out of their respective moss and unwrapped them, and I set them in some filtered water with a little bit of Foliage-Pro, which is now Super Thrive, and I let them hang out in my environment for about a week or so. And they're finally ready for their new homes in these self-watering pots and these reservoir situations in their Lechuza Pon. And I am so pumped. So let's do it. I'm back. It was very cold and rainy out there, so I wanted to put my robe on and be cozy. I hope that's not too weird. It's definitely tea o'clock. I think we should start with this cute little queen from Ecuagenera that did pretty well during the acclimation process. I think the small reservoir pot with the little wick is what I have decided to go for with this one, probably like a 4-inch maybe. So I will link this set down below if you're interested because I thought this was really cute and really modern looking. So I'm going to start out by taking a little bit of the Lechuza Pon and just putting a little bit in the bottom so that the plant is not directly sitting on the plastic. And then we'll take this guy out, and there's a little bit of moss still on here, so I'm going to try to exhume the moss because I don't want to give this bacteria any kind of a chance to thrive. So just a little bit more minor surgery here. So this little guy actually has a fairly established little root system. So if it doesn't survive, totally my fault. We'll put this down here and add a little bit more pon. The question is, do you have to rinse the pond? No, you do not. Some people prefer it. It's truly your choice. In it goes. Well, that looks fantastic. And it's gonna fill up. The water does look like a little dingy down here. So I guess that's the rationale, but I don't think it's ever going to be like totally clear. Maybe eventually. There's one guy. I think that looks really good. Next we have her big sister or big brother, also from Ecuagenera. When this came, it had a little leaf coming in here, but the day it came, it actually had a lot of white, disgusting looking fuzz on it. So that was just never going to grow. Let's pot him up into his new pond home. Now this is a big old guy. I think we'll put him in a 6-inch pot. Seems reasonable, right? All right, so we've got a little bit in this planter right here. Let's see what we got as far as roots for this guy. Okay, looking good. Again, just inspecting for any additional moss I can pick off. And in we go into the pond. She's looking good. I'm just going to give her a water. Okay, I made an executive decision and decided to change the water out because that looked horrifying. So here it is. I think it looks better. Next, we have this Anthurium pallidiflorum. which I'm going to be honest, this is one of my easiest aeroids. This does well in most mediums. But in the spirit of converting all of these Equigenera imports into Pon, we're going to do this guy too, which he already looks great. Let's put him in this self-watering guy. Looks like there's already a new guy trying to come out right here, which is great. Quick growers, in my experience. It'll be exciting to see how it does in a pond. Some people say it even speeds it up even more. And these are definitely guys that like to hang. This is not a climber, so this would not do well on a moss pole. Cool. Little tap. Here it is like this. Okay, and then you can see that the little reservoir level is full. It's at the max.
These start to 11.
So I'm good for a while for this guy, but he looks really good. So we'll see if we like him better in soil, just like the guys in back, or in the pond. Okay, last but not least, we're going to do this guy who, let's be honest, struggled a lot. I mean, this looks, what a leaf. There's one leaf left from this import. Everyone else came just yellowed, and suffice to say, this guy did not travel well at all. He's going to get the most budget of the self-watering pots. I can't be sure what's going to happen. Let's see, is this going to be big enough? I think I'm going to go a little deeper. I'm going to try to get him right in the middle here. Because something tells me that this guy is definitely not as easy to manage as my Calidiflorum. Good. I'm just going to pretty much just eyeball it. And we're doing this the old-fashioned budget way, where I'm just going to make sure I can see some water in the bottom and that there's some water in this pot. And one of the ways I'm going to be able to do this is by looking at condensation here. But still, it's the same mechanism of action where it's going to be watered via capillary action. Okay, well, this is absolutely everybody from the Equigenera plant haul that has been transitioned into Pon. I'm going to say everybody looks really good here. We have a couple different watering systems going down. Also, I did this the really old-fashioned way, but I could have poked holes in the bottom of this one. And then I would have actually done my reservoir, like filling the water up to here or so and letting it drain. So maybe next time, but it's actually a really good reason to not throw away your takeaway containers. It's a really good recycling idea for Pon. I am really excited to see how these guys are liking the Pon situation. The most devastating thing of all was this queen here, who was doing so well and getting so big and beautiful, and then just tragically did this to me. So, hoping to avoid that with Pon. But, you know, everyone else in Precious Plant Corner is still looking their best. Well, thank you so much for joining me in this adventure of transitioning everything over into very expensive gravel. This Lechuza Pon, not sponsored video, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you want to know a little bit more about the unboxing of these characters and their care, make sure to check out this latest Equigenera unboxing. And until next time, I am wishing you the biggest leaf energy. See you next time.